The CNG version of the Swift was always on the cards, and we finally got our hands on it. The Swift CNG is available in just 3 variants, and we have with us the ZXi trim. So we are going to tell you how to make out whether it's a CNG variant by just looking at it. And no, the CNG sticker is not the answer.
In the ZXi trim, you still get 15-inch alloy wheels, but no dual tone finish. You also don't get fog lamps either. That's it. No other differences compared to the petrol model we drove earlier this year.
And since this is the ZXi trim, you also don't get the 9-inch touchscreen, but only this 7-inch infotainment touchscreen. There's wireless connectivity, but the huge bezels around the screen look weird honestly. And the boot space is compromised because of the large CNG tank. Will Maruti Suzuki ever adopt the twin-cylinder tech?
The Swift CNG is marginally different to drive than the petrol version. The additional 40 kgs aren't that evident while driving. And like all Maruti CNG models, this one too gets a 5-speed manual, which is a smooth gearbox.
Even the handling of the Swift CNG hasn't changed much. It'd be hard to distinguish between the petrol and CNG versions. So this means the Swift CNG is still a fun car to drive, despite being frugal as it returns 32.85 kilometers per kg. There are 12 CNG models in Maruti Suzuki's lineup, and it has managed to sell more than 1 million CNG cars overall. In the financial year 2025 alone, Maruti Suzuki sold more than 350,000 CNG cars so far. So the demand is there, and it made sense to add the 13th car, the Swift. Will it be the lucky number 13 for the company? So, how do you tell the petrol and the CNG versions of the Swift apart? There are no badgings on the car, of course, but yes, the only visual differentiator is the CNG sticker on the windows. But that's removable, of course. Should there be a badge like how Hyundai and Tata Motors cars do? Let us know in the comments.
The Swift CNG comes in 3 variants, the VXi, VXi-O and this, the ZXi. But the Swift petrol gets one more trim at the top, the ZXi Plus. So dual tone finish from the alloy wheels and fog lamps from the ZXi Plus are missing on the ZXi. But does that really matter? The Swift always had a CNG nozzle on the right side, but this time it gets a lockable cover which has to be manually opened with a key. A good thing, but still cumbersome.
The Swift's 265-litre boot space is compromised with a single 55-litre tank. But fitting a couple of small trolley bags or overnight bags won't be an issue. Why? Well, because there's no spare wheel. There's a puncture kit though. Still, twin-cylinder tech would have been appreciated here.
You don't get the larger 9-inch screen. Instead, you have a 7-inch unit with huge bezels, which look horrible, honestly. Functionality-wise is fine, as you do get connected car tech, wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, and a wireless charger. But no reverse camera in a car that costs nearly 10 lakh rupees? That's a big miss.
Strangely, the instrument cluster only has a chrome trim for the tachometer and not the speedometer, and that looks odd. And this problem even exists on the top spec ZXi Plus variant of the petrol Swift. Wonder why it couldn't give that chrome strip on both meters? This one also gets a smaller screen with 2 fuel readouts for petrol and CNG.
Swift CNG doesn't feel very different to drive compared to the petrol one. So that means this still remains slightly sporty by nature. There's enough grunt for overtaking in the city, and it doesn't take much effort to get up to highway speeds either. The 5-speed manual is a great gearbox with precise shifts, as it has always been the case. Now you might think that initial acceleration takes a hit because of CNG, but peak torque is developed earlier in the rev range, mitigating any feel of lag.
The Swift Petrol has a claimed fuel efficiency of 24.8 km per litre with the manual and 25.75 km per litre with the automatic. The CNG, on the other hand, returns 32.85 km to a kg. So it's quite frugal and much better than its rivals too.
The ride is slightly on the stiffer side, but the Swift maintains composure well. It handles decently too and remains sporty despite the additional 40-something kg the CNG tank adds.
Like I said earlier, the Swift CNG is available in 3 variants and prices start at 8,20,000 rupees and go up to 9,20,000 rupees. When you compare it to the rivals like Hyundai Grand i10 Neo CNG and the Tata Tiago iCNG, the Swift is more expensive. The Hyundai is priced between 7,68,000 and 8,23,000 rupees, while the Tata is priced between 6 lakh and 8 lakh 10,000 rupees. Clearly, Maruti Suzuki isn't winning the price battle here. A worthy mention here is that the Tiago also gets an AMT transmission with the CNG. While the Swift may not be the most affordable among its rivals, drivability is its strong suit. It does the job perfectly, it isn't sporty but fun nonetheless, and yes, frugal. So if CNG is your go-to fuel option, then the Swift is a good option. But Hyundai and Tata have the more affordable options. You'd say the question to ask then is which one will fetch you more money a few years down the line? And there's none out there like the Swift.